Hi guys, how are we? This is Konsakeja Inspire YG. Thank you for popping in. If it's your first time popping in here, welcome. We love visitors around here. And I mean, if you're always on this journey with me, thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for watching my videos, for sharing them, for subscribing. I appreciate it, and I don't take it for granted that you take a couple of minutes of your day to watch any of my content. So thank you so much. Now I'm just gonna do a bit of introduction for everyone who is popping in or seeing this video for the first time, or seeing my content, coming across my content for the first time. I am Konsakejo. I am based in Sydney, Australia. I moved here for studies a couple of years ago now, and originally came from Kenya. So I jump on here once in a while and I talk about the experiences of my experiences as an international student in Sydney, Australia. I think every international student that I have met, my friends, colleagues, and everybody has got really like a story, and has got a journey. And it does not matter if you're studying or doing the same course, the story is always different. It always has a twist. And you know why? Because we are unique beings, we are different, and we view life from a different lens. This is based on our personal journey, personal experiences, our primary socialization, where we grew up, and everything else that shapes who we are and what we believe in our value system. So now that said, I have had a fair share of opportunities being an international student, and I came to understand that not everybody had some of those, and some people had more opportunities, different kind of opportunities than myself. And so I felt like if I started this platform, I would share about those, and someone on the same journey with me, or someone who is hoping to get on the journey that I walked, could get a bit of an idea of how it can be. Like I said, it could be different, or it might even be similar, but to just get a gist of how is life in Australia, at least in Sydney, for an international student coming from overseas. So this video particularly, I will be talking about, actually I wrote here, if your degree is aligned with Australia's skill shortage, this will be some good news for you, or this video will be for you. So if you're an international student, currently an international student, if you're a person thinking of studying in Australia, or coming over for studies, or if you're someone who knows someone who is interested to come, and who is interested to learn more about the how the laws and policies affect international students' day-to-day living, this video can be for you. So I will be with you shortly. Just a bit of introduction. Small introduction. I'll be with you shortly. So like I said, welcome back. Thank you so much for popping in, and I'm gonna jump right into it. So international student across 400 chosen disciplines will be able to stay in Australia for a further 2 years under changes to post-study work visa rights. So now, just to give you a bit of a background here, so in Australia, if you study, I know it's different in every country. I'm sure it's very different in Canada, in the US, and in the UK. But particularly in Australia, if you study, if you do your undergraduate, master's, or PhD, you get to stay back after your studies are complete. After you complete your studies, for sort of like a work experience kind of, or the work environment exposure. It really is a privilege that we have, or Australia, international students in Australia have that, because I know of my friends who are in the UK, and I don't know whether it's because of the course they did or that's the rule across the board. But whenever their course finishes, they have to pack and leave or go back to their countries. So with Australia, you get an opportunity to stay back, and so you graduate. That gives you time to graduate, give you time to plan for your graduation, but also it helps you be able to go out there in the job market and apply for jobs that are linked or aligned to the course that you did, and you will get some sort of that market exposure or that job space or job field or your field occupations exposure, work experience, for lack of a better word. So now I'll just start by reading some of the commentaries I saw from different governments, government persons, ministers, and yeah, they were actually both ministers. So the first comment I'll read was from the Minister of Home Affairs, and he stated that after a lost decade on immigration and skills, we are looking for ways to utilize skilled migrants via enhanced training and better targeted, less exploitative programs for workers, temporary visa workers, and international students. So we are targeting the skills Australia needs most, including health, teaching, engineering, agricultural fields. So that is the Minister of Home Affairs. The Minister of Federal Education also stated that we have got the second highest skill shortage in the developed world. So that is according to OECD, who are the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. So skill shortages are everywhere. This is like a global kind of an issue, and obviously it's because of the pandemic. And we teach and train these skilled workers, and this means they can stay on longer and use the skills they have gained in Australia to help fill some of the chronic skill shortages that we have right now. So those two ministers have echoed some of the things that are going on within the country, and I think I've done a video in the past of some of the changes that have happened. And obviously all those changes are on the website of the Department of Home Affairs. But it's basically, especially within Australia, the pandemic happened, there were border closures. That means people couldn't go out or come in the country. And so there has been a lot of labor shortages. There's also some rules that have happened in some industries, for example, the education industry, health industry, where things like being vaccinated is mandated. And so not everybody was for the vaccination, and so some people lost their jobs as well, or they just quit. So there are many reasons why there are labor shortages. However, the government is obviously trying to find ways to fill those with existing citizens or existing residents in the country. So international students, so previously international student who studied an undergraduate, which is probably my case, or people in my cohort, would be able to stay and work in Australia under a temporary graduate visa, which is known as subclass 485, and that would happen for 2 years. So what happened is, if you did an undergraduate, like if you did any type of degree in Australia, after you finished, there's a visa that you apply for. It's called subclass visa 485, and that visa allows you to stay back for at least 2 years. Within those 2 years, you could find a job. Chances are, I mean, that's not the case for everybody. Like I said, some people struggle. I'm one of those people who struggled. I don't know why I'm always on the struggle nation, but I am, and I didn't get the job that I wanted, but I did get some type of job, and that's the reason why I'm here today, because that sort of helped me transition to where I wanted to be. So those 2 years, regardless of whether you get the job that you actually want or you desire, it's better to not be fixated or have any type of expectation that, oh, the government gave me 2 years to stay back and look for work and probably get experience in my field. It doesn't always happen. So it's good to be open to any kind of experiences that you get, because it's better than nothing, I think, from my experience. So previously, if you did an undergraduate, you get 2 years with 485 visa, postgraduate visa. Now, if you did your masters, so the students who did their masters, they would stay back for 3 years previously. But with this current change that the government is making, or the government is reinstating from the starting July this year, that means people who do their masters can stay up to 5 years. So previously was 3 years, or currently is 3 years. From July will be 5 years. People who are studying or who are doing their PhD or any discipline within PhD sphere, they will be able to stay in Australia for up to 6 years instead of 4. So these are really, I think these are pretty good. This is really good news, and I'm really, really proud of, the government policymakers who came, who sat down. And I know obviously the bigger picture is more of, let's see what we can do for the Australian economy. Let's see how we can do to get back the economy, development of the economy, or the growth of the economy, to spur that growth. However, it also makes me feel like they are also, within this change, they're thinking about the welfare of international students, or those temporary workers, temporary graduates. So look, the new change. So what I wrote here was, so temporary graduate work visa, with the Australian government extending the temporary graduate visa for a chosen 400 bachelor's and master's programs and all PhD programs from July 2023. Now, so this extension does have a caveat, so it doesn't apply to all fields. Now, I will put a link on the description box. That link, hopefully I'll get it directly from the Department of Home Affairs website, and it will be a link or a list of all the occupations that have got this extension. So it's not every course. For example, I didn't see social work there, but I did see nursing, and nursing in all kind of areas. So if you're a nurse in aged care, pediatrician, it could be anywhere, residential, community, health, it doesn't matter. But nursing, in all facets, or in all areas, they're actually there. Engineering and analysts, and people in the agriculture sector, sonography, optometrists, all those people, they get a chance to have that extension. However, if your course is not on that list, that means, what I need to find out is whether that means you still can stay for the previous or for the current years that we have. For example, undergraduate 2 years and what have you. So that's something that I need to probably find out, or I can give you that homework to find out. So it will definitely be the responsibility of every student, depending on the course that you're doing, to find out if you actually qualify for this extension or not. So I'm pretty much just giving you the information of the current information that is out, but I would hope that you do your due diligence, so that you don't think that it applies to you when it doesn't. So the government announced, so I have said that I'll put that list of the extended post-study work rights and who they would apply to. So students like I said, students are expected to obviously check whether the disciplines are eligible for extended post-study work visa. Now, there is also some other wonderful news. I don't really know whether this is going to be considered wonderful for all international students. Maybe some. I mean, it depends. I guess it depends on whether you view the glass half full or half empty. I mean, is my bottle half full or half empty? So I am one of those people who view life on a positive note. So I will probably see it half full, not half empty. But it honestly, it depends. So the other change was limits to international students' working hours. It will be reinstated from the 1st of July this year. So currently, students can work for 40 hours a fortnight or 20 hours a week when classes are in session. So if the semester has started, you're back to school, you're supposed to only work 20 hours a week or 40 hours a fortnight, and that's a cap. So for some organizations, they're very strict, because if the immigration finds out, then obviously there's going to be some penalty for the organization. So sorry, some organizations are very strict that you can only work 40 hours, and they put that cap there. However, there's some good news, because when you are on break, or school is not in session, you can actually work unlimited times, and that's how some of us survived, myself included. So I would work extra shifts when I'm on holidays, and then when I go back to school, I just do the 40 hours, because at the end of the day, I still want to attend the lectures and the tutorials, which I think it's important. So currently students can work for 40 hours a fortnight when classes are in session, but from July those hours will increase to 48 per fortnight. So this was lifted, and mainly some of these rules were lifted just around the pandemic time, because obviously they needed to tackle the labor shortages issues. So the Universities Australia chief executive stated that the current skills crisis highlight the urgent need to retain more of the students when and where there's a clear need for their skills to complement the homegrown workforce and spur productivity and economic growth, particularly for PhD students, who will provide a significant boost to the knowledge economy of Australia. So basically, if your degree is aligned with the skill shortages in Australia, definitely this video will be very, very helpful for you or people that you know. And like I said, I will have some I will put a link in the description box just for some of those courses or some of those occupations that have benefited from this extension. And it's obviously good depending on why you choose Australia as your study destination or as your place to come and study. People have varied reasons. Some people just want to study, go back to their country, that's okay. But if you feel like you would want to have a change and exposure of a different country or different way of being in life, then this is a good opportunity. If you're also planning to study in Australia, it's also good to find out which are those you want to study in Australia and probably stay in Australia or work in Australia. It's good to find out what are those occupations that are actually marketable here, or Australian are finding a hard time filling in. Those are some of the, if they are aligned to your purpose or your passion, then those are some of the courses that you can choose, and that can guide your career pathway as well. So I thought I'd share that. I think it's quite amazing. I mean, we've come from a pandemic. I was a student before the pandemic. I actually graduated on the year the pandemic strike. So I do feel like it's not a long time ago, but there's a whole lot of changes that have happened, not just to international students, but also to the education system, to the government, because also the government has changed. The government that is in power at the moment, a lot of their laws are actually very favorable to international students. I have to say that because during my time as an international student, I have to say the government that was in power at the time, the laws that they had were not really favorable for international students at the time. So I feel like this is the best time to be an international student. As crazy as that sounds, there's so many opportunities, but also it feels nice to study in a country that at the moment, when you're feeling like the issues of an international student are not being politicized, if anything, they're being considered and listened to. So anyway, thank you so much for popping in. Thank you for watching this video. I hope that you can consider subscribing, and if this content really relates to you or it's kind of helpful to you, and please share it with your networks or people that it might help in your life. And I'll also link pages on my Facebook and Instagram, and please consider following or even popping in there to just send me some questions that you might have, or any of the questions that are extended. I'm happy to do a video on them. If there are questions that I can answer on the comment section, please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about all these changes that have happened. And until the next time, God bless you. Thank you for watching. Bye.